Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be discussing the 8th house of the Zodiac. In astrology, the 8th house is associated with transformation, shared resources, mysteries, power, and the unseen realms. It rules areas connected to inheritances, taxes, debts, occult sciences, psychology, surgery, research, and deep investigations. Careers influenced by the 8th house often involve intensity, secrecy, healing, or handling of other people's resources. Industries and careers governed by the 8th house include banking, investing, financial planning, stock market analysis, hedge fund management, insurance, especially life and health insurances, tax consulting, accounting, and wealth management. Also, debt collection and loan services. Psychology and therapists are also seen through this house. Grief counselors, trauma and addiction counselors, hypnotherapists, psychiatric professionals, surgeons, especially those dealing with life and death situations, forensic pathologists, medical examiners, emergency room doctors and paramedics, research scientists in medicine and pharmaceuticals, detectives and private investigators, FBI, CIA, and intelligence agencies are also governed by the 8th house. Forensic experts and crime scene analysis, research analysts in various fields, astrologers and tarot readers, occultists and spiritual healers, shaman, energy workers, paranormal investigators are also governed by the 8th house. And paranormal investigators could include, for example, Ghostbusters. That entire movie revolved around 8th house matters. Beetlejuice is another movie that is ruled by the 8th house. Careers that are also governed by the 8th house: morticians and funeral directors, embalmers, cremators, hospice and end-of-life care professionals, organ donations, and transplant coordinators are also ruled and found in the 8th house. Sex therapists and counselors, tantra and intimacy coaches, adult industry professionals, crisis managers and trauma specialists, disaster relief coordinators like people who work for FEMA, lawyers specializing in wills, estates, and inheritances can also be seen through the 8th house. So if you have an afflicted 8th house, do a lot of research when you want to find an estate planner or someone to manage your finances or your wealth. Since the 8th house deals with depth, transformation, and secrecy, careers associated with it often require handling intense or hidden aspects of life. If your 8th house is strong in your natal chart, you might feel drawn to careers involving power, psychology, healing, or deep investigations. In astrology, the 8th house governs occult sciences because it represents hidden knowledge, transformations, and the mysteries of life and death. The word occult itself means hidden or secret, aligning with the 8th house's themes of secrecy, power, and the unknown. The house of hidden knowledge and mysticism delves into secrets, things that are not obvious or easily accessible. Occult sciences like astrology, tarot reading, alchemy, and numerology deal with hidden forces influencing reality, making them a natural fit for this house. The 8th house is about deep transformation, spiritual awakenings, often through crisis or profound experiences like going through a paranormal experience. being possessed by a demon, experiencing the Holy Spirit while one is in church praising the Lord. Those can be considered transformations through crisis or profound experiences. Occult practices are used for spiritual rebirth, shadow work, and personal transformation, helping individuals uncover deeper truths about themselves and the universe. Shadow work is the process of exploring and integrating the unconscious parts of yourself, your fears, suppressed emotions, hidden desires, and unresolved traumas. It involves self-reflection, deep honesty, and emotional healing. An example of a shadow work exercise includes journaling. Thinking about qualities in others that trigger you the most and why. When do you feel the most insecure or unworthy? What past experience created that insecurity within you? Delving deep within oneself. Finding one's emotions, understanding oneself better. What are your triggers? Why do you have these type of triggers? In what ways are you afraid of being truly seen by others? Shadow working is about finding oneself, sitting, meditating, thinking about past experiences, past relationships, past friendships. If you don't like a certain group of people, why? What is that? It could be a karmic thing. It could be one of the main reasons you were reincarnated into this life. Another example of doing shadow work is standing in front of a mirror, making eye contact with yourself and saying things like, I see you, I accept you, I love you, I forgive you for your past mistakes. Talking to oneself with love and appreciation. Another example is writing a letter to your younger self, offering reassurance and compassion. Meditating. Close your eyes and visualize your shadow self standing in front of you or your younger self. Ask it, what do you need me to see? Observe any images, memories, or emotions that surface. Acknowledge and accept what comes up. Confronting self-sabotage and fears. List ways you hold yourself back. Procrastination, perfectionism, toxic relationships. Identify the core fears behind each pattern. Ask yourself, what would happen if you released this fear? Analyzing your dreams. Keeping a dream journal and analyze recurring themes. Ask yourself, what do these dreams reveal about your hidden fears and desires? Pay attention to shadow figures in the dream. They often represent repressed parts of yourself. Confronting your dark or negative side. Listing your negative attributes, accepting that you are not perfect. Accepting your flaws. Shadow work is deep and intense, but it leads to self-acceptance, emotional freedom, and personal transformation. The key is compassion. The goal is not to fix yourself, but to understand and embrace all parts of you and who you are. The 8th house is associated with the afterlife and reincarnation. Key topics in many mystical traditions. Practices like mediumship, past life regression, and ancestral work fall under this house's domain. The 8th house rules unseen forces, including the power of the subconscious, energy work, and rituals. It governs magic, Kundalini energy, and esoteric wisdom, all ways of working with hidden, transformative energies. The 8th house governs psychology, which is deeply tied to the occult's focus on the subconscious mind, symbols, and hidden motivations. Many occult sciences use symbolism, archetypes, and intuition aligning with the depth and complexity of the eighth house. The eighth house represents secret societies, hidden teachings, and initiations, all common in occult traditions. Many ancient mystery schools like Hermeticism, Kabbalah, and Tantra operated in secrecy, passing down esoteric knowledge only to those deemed ready. In short, the eighth house governs occult sciences because it is the gateway to the unknown, the unseen, and the deeply transformative forces of life. It encourages the exploration of mystical truths, psychological depths, and metaphysical realities. Occult sciences refer to mystical, esoteric, and hidden fields of knowledge that explore the unseen forces of the universe. Astrology, the study of how celestial bodies like planets, stars, and lunar cycles influence human life and events, using birth charts to analyze personalities, fates, and karmic patterns, are also considered an occult science. Tarot and divination. Tarot cards, runes, pendulums, and other tools are used to gain insight into past, present, and the future. Divination methods including scrying, crystal gazing, I Ching, and numerology. Ancient practice of transforming matter often symbolized as turning lead into gold, which is considered alchemy. Philosophically, it represents spiritual purification and self-transformation. It is also known that Jesus Christ himself was an alchemist. Kabbalah and mysticism, esoteric Jewish tradition that explores the nature of God, creation, and the soul, also linked to Christian and Hermetic mysticism. The practice of using intention, symbols, and rituals to influence reality is considered ritual or ritualistic behavior. This includes Wicca, Thelema, and ceremonial magic. Some might say celebrating your birthday every year is a ritual. Getting a birthday cake, lighting a candle, and making a wish, the wish itself, could be considered alchemy. The wish itself could be considered a matter of occult science, because what is a wish? Occult psychology examines the subconscious, archetypes, and hidden aspects of the self. Mediumship and spirit communication is the ability to communicate with spirits, ancestors, or higher dimensional beings. Used in seances, automatic writing, and channeling. Theosophy and esoteric philosophy is a blend of Eastern and Western mystical traditions that explores karma, reincarnation, and universal consciousness. Occult sciences are deeply rooted in ancient wisdom and often overlap with religion, spirituality, and psychology. They are studied by those who seek deeper truths, hidden knowledge, and personal transformation beyond the material world. The eighth house also governs the concept of universal consciousness, which is the idea that there is a single, all-encompassing awareness that connects everything in existence. It suggests that all beings, minds, and realities are part of a greater, unified intelligence or spiritual essence. The oneness of all things. Everything in the universe, humans, animals, nature, planets, is interconnected. Individual consciousness is like a drop of water in the vast ocean of universal consciousness, which is also ruled by the Zodiac sign Aquarius. Aquarius is the air sign that carries the water in which we drink. Some spiritual traditions see universal consciousness as the ultimate state of awareness. Meditation, altered states, and mystical experiences help people tap into this higher wisdom. In some belief systems, universal consciousness is equated with God, Source, or the divine mind. It is seen as the creative force behind existence, guiding all life. Some say this consciousness stores all knowledge, past, present, and future, similar to the Akashic record in esoteric thought. Mystics and psychics claim to access this information through deep meditation or intuition. Some interpretations align with quantum physics, suggesting that consciousness is non-local and exists beyond space and time. Ideas like the holographic universe and unified field theory suggest that reality itself is an expression of this consciousness. Examples of universal consciousness in different traditions include Hinduism, the supreme, formless, infinite reality behind everything, or Buddhism, nirvana and non-duality, the dissolution of the ego into the vast awareness of the universe, or Taoism, the natural flowing intelligence that governs the cosmos. Then there's mystical Christianity, God's omnipresence, the belief that divine awareness permeates all creation. Hermeticism and occultism, the idea that all is mind, and the universe itself is a mental construct. How to connect with universal consciousness? Meditation and mindfulness, dream work and astral travel, or what they will call astral projecting, psychedelic or mystical experiences, deep contemplation of philosophical inquiries, acts of compassion and love. If the universe is alive and aware, then our own consciousness is just a fragment of something much greater. Some believe that enlightenment is simply the realization that you were never separate from universal consciousness in the first place. And that's all I have for the 8th house. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.